history, so is the question of inclusion and of pushing back against those boundaries. So the research that I conduct here in Wisconsin is looking at how religious communities have banded together and have created spaces for communities to develop within the Latino community that push back against those questions of exclusion and push back against those questions of boundary building. And the one historical precedent that I'd like to discuss today is the question of sanctuary. Wisconsin was, in fact, in the 1980s, a hotspot for sanctuary movement development, beginning in Milwaukee in 1982, and in fact arriving here in this very city in 1983. And what the people of Wisconsin, of different faith communities, decided full-throatedly was that they had a moral obligation to stand by those people that had been excluded by the government, specifically Central American immigrants. They made the pronouncement that regardless of legal standing and regardless of what executive power stated, they had a moral obligation as Christians, as Jews, as believers, and non-believers to stand by these communities. And in fact, this very city council made that same commitment in 1985. And that's why I think it's so important for us in 2017 to reaffirm that commitment that we made in 1985. To say that once again, the city of Madison, the state of Wisconsin, this very nation will not be an exclusionary space. There will be a space that invites all people, whether they be economic or political refugees, or whether they be people just looking for a better life. And so I'm asking all of you to support this resolution as it stands, and not only to support this resolution, but to continue to have conversations on how we as a community can continue to be more inclusionary and to destroy some of these barriers that may be being built at the national level, but that we know here should not be a part of who we are. Thank you.
Will be followed by two people registered together, Laura Nero and Erica Rosales.
Boa noite a todos e obrigado pela oportunidade de falar com vocês. Buenas noches a todos y gracias por escuchar. Good evening everyone and thank you for listening to me. I just spoke 3 languages, I speak 3 languages. My name is Ananda and I'm representing myself only. I belong to a minority group that often goes unnoticed and mostly underserved throughout our nation. Nonetheless, we have received an increased level of attack and profile. And you probably have seen what looks like on a national level. But right here in Madison, this is how it looks like. Families are afraid for their children. Children are afraid for themselves, their family members, and their friends. And I'm also talking about my family and my children. You see that the fact that we have papers do not guarantee that we will not suffer discrimination, harassment, or that we share a feeling of safety. The same way that many of you in this room and others in Madison, residents in Madison, feel. I've been in this country for 17 years, 10 of those years as a US citizen. But contrary to many of you, I carry my American passport when I cross state lines and in any domestic flight. During this time, I am reminded of my fears. We have centuries of history to prove that my fears are not unfounded. I'm sorry. Just a few weeks ago, while throwing recycled garbage out, a few steps from my door, on the condo that I've been living for 2.5 years, a neighbor stopped me and asked if I was arrested. I do not expect you to understand the concept of safety is too foreign to me. I don't expect you to understand the emotional and psychological impact I feel when the city that my family and many other immigrant families feel when the city, when families reside, is proposing to make this room, this building, and this city a safe harbor, a safe space. I really can't explain to you, but I can assure you that such language makes me feel a little bit more safe. Just a little bit more safe. Lastly, I would like to remind Madison that prides on the strides of equity and justice. That equity implies that people get what they need. And this is what I need, Madison. This is what immigrants and refugee families in this community need. We need the city to take a risk and be explicit about Madison being a safe place for all of us.
Thank you.
So, good evening. It's always difficult to speak after Nanda. So, thank you, Nanda, for sharing. And for the record, I love Wisconsin cheese as well. Madison has been home for the last 14 years, coming from Guatemala City. And I never, in those 14 years, I never seen so much anxiety, so much confusion in our Latino, especially immigrant community, as I see right now. And this is what families have to deal on a daily basis after all of these nonsense executive orders. So that's why I'm here to speak in favor of item 23 that you have in front of you tonight. I believe that united we stand, and I use this building not that much, but I come here for different things, and I always see Latino immigrant families coming in and out to carry out different businesses. And my hope is that any person can come to this building and feel safe. And now that we're giving it, that people have a specific place where they can go for an interpreter or to seek other information related to immigration, I think that's great. So I'm really hoping that all of you vote in favor of this resolution. I think that it really clarifies the city of Madison's values and policies around enforcing immigration law. So we want to keep this community a safest place for everyone. I was really glad last week to see the change that Chief Cobble did in his policy around not collaborating with immigration officers. So I really applaud that. And I want to tell you that this is only the first step that we're going to take as a city, because there is more that is coming our way. But when this resolution passes, I assure you that we as the immigrant community are willing to defend this resolution and what is it also coming from out of other cities out of the state. And that really means putting ourselves on the line. If we get arrested, that's what we're going to have to do. But again, as a city, we have to allocate other resources to create more safe spaces for other areas as well. And one key thing about sanctuary cities is that most of these large cities, they control their local jail, and we as Madison don't do that. So we have to ensure that we have a specific written policy with the sheriff, so we are able to do that. My time is running out, but thank you very much.
When is this? And then Elizabeth Jacob.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Laura Brunetto. I am a PhD student in counseling psychology, and I am undocumented. I also benefit from deferred action, which, as many of you know, Trump has threatened to end, and there's a lot of uncertainty in our community as to what that means. And you might ask yourself, how does someone like me, who's undocumented, has been here for 20 years, has had a lot of doors closed in my face in order to get to here where I am standing right in front of you to advocate for this? How do I get here, right? I've had some privileges along the way. I'm originally from California, and in California, we have policies that have enabled for me to benefit from in-state tuition, something that we don't have in the state of Wisconsin, that people who have been living here for 16, 20 years, 10, 15 years, who are a part of your community, who are your citizens, who are your residents, haven't had the opportunity to benefit from. And that's why something like this is so, so, so important. We need to start with standing up and defending for the rights of the people that contribute to your children, to your families, who service you. I can only speak for myself and say I've spoken to over 200 students at local high schools. I'm motivating them to pursue higher education. I've help train some of the recruits from the Madison Police Department on how to work with undocumented and Latinx individuals in our communities. All we do and all we ask is to be a part of this community. And I implore you to take a stand. When you implement things like this, you send a message to the community that we are part of this community, that we are one. And I always speak to Lila Watson's quote, that if you have come to help us, that's not what we need, right? What we need to realize is that our liberation is bound up in one another, and we all have struggles and we all have sacrifices, and that's what makes Madison community so strong, and that's why we're all here today, fighting to protect the rights of our immigrant and undocumented refugee communities. Thank you. Please take to heart what everybody's saying here today. Any of us, any of the people that have been talking and speaking today could be gone tomorrow, and that will impact all of you. It will impact all of us. Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
What's your name?
Erika Rosales. I was right with Laura. We were.
Oh, so together, okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, please proceed.
Just wanted to talk about my support for item number 23. I feel lucky to live in a place like Madison. I know there's a lot of places that are not as welcoming as this city. I've been here for about 22 years, and it feels like home to me. And I've also noticed the difference in the immigrant population, how much it has grown from when I was first here, where I would have a party if I saw somebody that was not an immigrant, or that was an immigrant. I, like my friend Laura, had the privilege of having DACA, and I say that it's a privilege because a lot of people who are undocumented do not have that, do not have something to fall back behind. But something that sometimes kind of gets lost is how we contribute to the society and to this city as immigrants, that we come in different shapes, forms, and education levels. And a lot of the times we get clumped to one. We all contribute differently. I personally am working at the University of Wisconsin. I am getting my master's degree, and I'm also on the board of directors of a local nonprofit organization, and I also tutor for women who don't speak English. That organization is Literacy Network, who helps immigrants and who helps refugees to acquire basic literacy skills. So I guess I just kind of wanted to say something as far as noticing how immigrants, undocumented immigrants, contribute to the society on so many different levels. And to keep that in mind, not just for today, not just for this proposal, not just for what is going on right now, but for the future, to keep moving forward with that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Carl Lansness, to be followed by Elizabeth Jacobs, to be followed by Anna Andrzejewski.
I'm Carl, and you've seen me here before. You've seen me here with my little friends here and talk about the language of the heart. There's never a time that I see the language of the heart. It's as opposed to the language that has an ego that this little guy represents. My mentor, Marshall Rosenberg, uses giraffes and jackals to talk about the difference in language of the heart, language of the head, ego, which is usually about analyses, judgments, demands, condemning. Language of the heart is about feelings, needs, requests. And yet giraffes are not always nice. They're authentic, honoring, respecting. Sometimes giraffes need a little buddy, like a tiger. Set some boundaries and say, meow! That's not dishonoring. That's just the most endearing language I receive from people when I cross a boundary. It's just meow. not judgmental, right, wrong, good, bad, you're wrong, I'm good. It's just letting you know that I've touched something dangerous back in the corner. Or the jackal will come out, which is not quite so quick. And it's more what we're seeing in our political realm, which is causing huge grief. This issue, the edicts, the executive orders on elections and so on, I'm really, really, really concerned that with wonderful intentions and a hugely honored intention to this resolution and its authors. But I'm concerned that we will raise, it may backfire with the word condemn, because I'm concerned that it will alienate, energize the very forces and beings that we're trying to work either with or around. I'm afraid that it may end up energizing a type of backlash that will destroy the intentions of this. There are ways to confront with respect, with love, to express, and even find win-win ways. And I've sent you 5 emails this week. I've never sent that much time. But this is a hot issue for me, and I feel the passion, the pain of many of those spoken here and elsewhere. But I also feel the pain and fear behind the anger of those who elected our president. What's that? I can wrap up. And I think we need to know how to listen to them and honor the feelings and needs behind their actions. We can do it. We can reach higher, and I challenge you to challenge me, the people, to reach higher.
Thank you. The next speaker is Elizabeth Jacobs, to be followed by Anna Andrzejewski and Shadera Kilfoy Flores.
Hi, I'm Dr. Elizabeth Jacobs. I'm a professor of medicine and population health sciences at University of Wisconsin-Madison. I'm also practicing primary care physician. I practice at Access Community Health Center on Park Street. I'd say something about cheese, but I'm a doctor, so you probably don't want to hear what I say about cheese. So I'm going to start by saying I'm really glad to be here tonight and giving us this forum. I also want to say that I'm so heartened by my neighbors and community members who are here tonight to advocate for a strong language around creating a safe place for undocumented immigrants in our community. And I want to tell the story of one of my patients that I think drives home one of the reasons why this is very important. First of all, there's research that shows that if people are afraid of actually being turned into immigration, that they don't seek health care, they also don't go to the police. My patient is a woman who suffered from domestic violence. She called the police and was able to escape that relationship. Under this kind of administration where she doesn't feel there's a safe place to go, she might have been dead. She's a single mother to her 2 small children who are both American citizens. She works very hard. She's an incredible member of our society. She has incredible leg pain and needs actually a knee replacement, but she can't get it because of her lack of insurance to be able to do that. But she works very hard despite daily pain to support her daughters. She can also come to me, as was said earlier by the non-community members here, to actually seek care for the PTSD and the anxiety that she experiences as a result of this domestic violence. Again, if she didn't feel like she was in a safe space and we let her know that, she may not have come to me, and she and her children would be in a different space. And this is just one of many stories that I can tell you. Other people have told you their own stories and other patients that I have. So I urge you to support this strong resolution so that we can make sure that people come to us who can protect them, both as healthcare providers, police, fire, etc. So thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Anna Andrzejewski, followed by Shadera Kilfoy Flores, Cheryl Cato.
Okay, I'm really glad to be speaking here tonight in support of this resolution. I'm also really inspired by a lot of the stories from members of our immigrant community here today. And I come to speak as a professor at the University of Wisconsin in the historical humanities, or more specific, that would be art history. We are a department with a global reach, meaning we have experts that study art and architecture from all over the world. We are part of a world-class research institution, and for that reason, we attract students from all over the world. When the executive order was issued, I immediately was called by 4 students of mine at the graduate level from Iran who did not know what it meant for them. They wanted answers from the university, but they also wanted answers from the city. They wanted to know what protection they provide. I listened to your stories. How many students do you know that are in that position, that don't know what's coming next, that don't know what they're going to do? I've been contacted by the national media because 4 students from Iran at the graduate level, that's quite a few. What does that mean? And I've talked to the national media about that. To be concrete, these students wonder, can they do their research? Can they complete their degree? They wonder if they can go home to take care of ailing family members. They are scared. They don't know what to do. And one of the things that defines our community, I think you've heard all of these stories about the immigrants in this community, but the university is part of the community. We talk about this town and gown thing, and it's not really true. They are residents of this city as well, and it's my graduate students, but it's undergraduate students that are privileged to study at our great university, and I urge you to support this resolution and particularly the contested part about the safe place and space. It's important that they have that assurance that not only the university and their advisors will protect them, but also the city, that even if only temporarily, they call home. Thank you.
Next speaker is Shadera.
Shadera.
Okay, good. Kelfoy Flores, followed by Cheryl Keto and Luis Montoto.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank our leaders who brought about the resolution and certainly in support. I myself am a first-generation Mexican-American. I was born here in Madison. My father came to Madison from Mexico after I was born in 1975. And it was not a comfortable place for him. It was very uncomfortable. My father actually being very educated. He also speaking 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Japanese. But because of having a very heavy accent, he felt discriminated against and was very uncomfortable.